We are up. We are up. We are up. Good evening. Good evening. Today is Tuesday, November 30th. I made a conscious effort to look at the calendar before I went on because last week, I don't know why, I had no idea what day it was, but I did not. So today is Tuesday, November 30th. Welcome to Free Thinkers. We're doing some things a little bit differently tonight, so bear with me while I look over to my right a little bit and keep my eyes on my laptop because we are streaming from our YouTube channel tonight. Our goal is to slowly but eventually move a majority of our content and our show to our YouTube channel. So if you are watching right now and are unsure of what to do, on our Facebook page, I have tonight's post announcement pinned to the top of the page. So if you want to get into the show live tonight, you just need to click on the StreamYard link as we do every Tuesday. If you are not interested in getting onto the show and engaging with us live and you just want to watch or you want to listen, you can watch that on our YouTube channel, which is Freethinkers Worldwide. That is also included in the pinned post. Over there's a live chat option, which is what we're using. I see Kevin over there. Shout out Kevin over on the YouTube channel. So you can watch it that way. In a second here, both Q and I are going to take the YouTube link and post it to our Facebook pages so you can watch it there as well. But if you click on it, it will automatically take you to YouTube. So we are slowly trying to, like I said, move things over to YouTube. You can share the YouTube channel page. You can share the Facebook page. So I'm going to go to our Freethinkers page right now and just see what it says. However, I'm posting the YouTube link to Freethinkers as well. So if you want to join the conversation tonight and get into it, go to the StreamYard link. If you want to just chat with us and watch and listen, you're going to do that through our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is Freethinkers Worldwide, and all of that is on the Facebook page. It is also on my personal page. So, not to be too difficult, but like I said, we are trying to move a little bit slowly away from Facebook. So we want people to start getting used to what the process will be. We can engage in the live chat on the YouTube channel just as effectively and efficiently as we do with people on the Facebook page. And those are coming directly to our comment section. So like I said, I can see Kevin posting right now. So we got those going. I'm going to Freethinkers right now. Of course, my Wi-Fi is slow. Q, have you had any luck grabbing the YouTube link yet?
I'm looking on there. I don't see anything yet.
I'm slowed down over here, so I'm having a little bit of a difficulty getting it up there. Okay, here we go. Freethinkers. And all right, so I just posted the YouTube link to Freethinkers. And if you click on it, let's see, let's post that bad boy. And we're looking for some music. We're looking for some commercials. So if you got a little something that you want to donate to the show, let us know. Of course, naturally, let's see. Okay, so YouTube channel is the very first thing on the Freethinkers group page on Facebook. Click on it and it will open up and directly take you to YouTube. So we are up over there. Join us over there. Engage with us in conversation over there. That's where we are. If you're like, oh, this is so frustrating, I get it. We're going to keep working on this until we all figure it out together. But you can always watch us. You can always watch us. The StreamYard link is posted if you do want to get into the conversation. So really quickly, again, as we do at the beginning of every show, thank you to everybody who supports us and watches us. I was super, super heart exploded today when I saw how many people forwarded just a quick little video and post that I made about the show tonight. There was people that I honestly had never even, I don't even know where they came from who shared it. So So unbelievably grateful to those of you guys who are brave enough to share our show with the world. We have fantastic adult conversations, man, straight up. Like, a lot of people call this a lot of different things, but we have great adult conversations every Tuesday night. And we want to reach more people and have conversations with people from all over the place and invite new perspectives. So thank you to everybody who has shared our page, who has subscribed. We got a couple new subscribers over on YouTube this week. So shout out to the new subscribers. If you do have a YouTube channel, we totally will follow you back. We're all about supporting other people. We couldn't do this without your support, so we always support other folks. So follow us, subscribe over on our YouTube channel. And then, of course, our Facebook channel is just simply Free Thinkers. What is Free Thinkers? So every Tuesday night we go live about 8:05 and we'll talk till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And we just have a variety of topics. Sometimes we have topics, that we've set in advance, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we come up with them right before we start. So it's kind of like back in the day, if you were ever a part of Free Thinkers or a former group that we were involved with, where we just showed up on Tuesday and didn't even know what the topic was going to be, but we was going to talk. That's what we do on Tuesday nights. So sometimes we have a topic, you don't have to know nothing about it, but if you just like to engage in grown ass good conversation, come join us. So we talk every Tuesday night, 8:05 Central. Like I said, we go to about 10 o'clock. You certainly don't have to stay the entire time if that is late for you. We do ask that you jump in a little closer at the beginning of the show versus the middle or the end of the show. So obviously you're caught up with what we're talking about, but you can jump in at any time. Earbuds definitely help keep the clicking noise down, as does keeping, obviously, any background noise quiet and speakers shut off so there's no interference coming from other sources. And that's pretty much it with Free Thinkers. It's adult conversations. We talk about all kind of different topics. Adult language always, totally up to you whether or not you want to have us on speaker or your children around. But with that being said, we didn't really have a set topic for tonight, but there is a post on the Free Thinkers group page that was a very interesting conversation that we had this week. And so Q had mentioned, let's talk about that. So we'll talk about that. It was basically in a scenario where a funeral takes place, is the person who died, mistresses, or I don't know, what do they call a man? What is it? What is it? Is he a mister? Is it a mistress and a mister? So I'm trying to get away from this stupid word side piece. I'm just I have such a hard time with this stupid term side piece. But essentially that's what it is. Are those side pieces?
It's not a known name for the man because the man ain't crazy enough to show up to that stuff.
Or he don't care. I don't know. Because it can't be a mistress. It's got to be a Sancho. Kevin said it's a Sancho. I mean, we know that. But are those people allowed to come to the funeral? What's the thoughts on that? And there was a lot of thoughts on the conversation on the Facebook page. It was some interesting feedback. I think you and I are not going to agree on this one. And then we had discussed last week talking about, how do you tell somebody that, maybe their food is not good, or, how do you compliment, give constructive criticism to somebody else, and how do you receive that? So we did not get into that last week, because last week was a phenomenal show about 7 things to basically tend to be mindful of to have a successful adult life. So if you didn't get to tap into last week's show, definitely go watch last week's show. It's on Facebook, it's on Facebook, and it's on YouTube. And Q and I just had a dope ass conversation for about 2 hours on 7 different things that, certainly make a difference in really the success of our lives. So go check that out. So what do you want to start with tonight?
I found
Did you?
Yes,
okay, so you got it up. What do you want to start with tonight? Okay, we'll start with that.
When someone dies, should their side dude or side chick be able to come to the funeral service and pay their last respects? So
you go first.
So let me see. Let me look at some of these comments. No, Morning Secret. That's
More
what
than secret,
somebody
like you
said.
were a secret. Yup.
Somebody said, "Nah, keep that disrespect a secret as you were."
Yeah.
Somebody said, "How would anyone know who they are?"
And
And
what I say.
that was one of my
It was a
points
good point. Crystal made
because
a good point. She made a good point.
it's usually when people make a big deal of something, then it makes it more obvious. Like, oh shoot, that must have been her side dude right there because they ready to fight. Whenever you see somebody, like, how many things is it? It's only so many reasons that you want to fight at a funeral. It's some side dude, some side chick was there. Some
Mm-hmm.
people had mutual interest with the person. Somebody grandmama and the some of the kids was leeching off of her and taking her money and stuff like that, so they're ready to fight. Or the one of the cousins or aunties or sisters who never come around, then they come back, they show up after 5 years acting like they was closer to her than anything in the world, and they
Right.
like, you wasn't even around, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. Or
You
if the
over here
money's
just,
involved.
yep, and then money involved, somebody owed the dead person money,
Mm.
or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the reasons. So I say, how would they know? So usually people give away on themselves. When you see something like that, it's for one of those reasons. And based upon who it is, older, younger, two people, same, you can tell what it is.
My thing was, is you gonna know because
You're
initially
not
when
gonna
she,
know.
yes, you is. Everybody's not gonna keep everything a secret. Somebody knows. Somebody
But
at that funeral gonna know.
just because
Somebody,
somebody
no, because
knows, that
he or
don't mean
she has told somebody.
that don't mean the whole congregation gonna know.
No, but you gonna know. You just you might not always know, but I think that thinking no one's gonna know is definitely not a
But
smart decision.
there's a difference between knowing and speculation. If you see somebody sitting in
Right,
the corner
sure.
out the blue, dressed all cute, and you ain't never seen them before, you can
Where
speculate.
they come
Yeah,
from?
and you can speculate, but you don't
Right.
know.
You're
Where
right.
the no comes in is when the other family members come acting a fool.
Mhm.
That's where
Mhm.
the no comes in.
Mhm. So we got how you gonna know. What else were some of the responses?
And that's what Crystal said. Somebody always knows. Um,
Mhm.
especially if someone's crying heavily. Nobody knows the
Right.
person.
Why you crying so much? Where you even come from? How
They
you know my
crying.
man? How
They
you know
just
my
crying
brother,
extra.
my auntie?
They're like,
Where
hold
you
on, you taking this a little too hard for this to be
extra
some distant
crying?
distant person that we can't even
Hmm.
verify as a relative.
Mhm.
That's funny. Hold on.
Mhm.
I need to like that one.
Crying too hard, just
Okay.
from the
Let me see.
left.
Okay, so then Chris said, "What promoted me to think about this?" Because okay, now Ivory said, "No, not at all. But if they had a kid with the person, yes, the kid should be able to come." Well, that's a little weird.
But
How the kid gonna be able to come, but then the parent
that's
who
why
birthed
I'm
the kid
see,
can't come?
and so that goes back to my statement: is somebody gonna know? Like I mean, a lot of times in relationships where you've got infidelity, it's not a secret, like, or it's not
Back
some
in the
brand
day,
new
it was a
information.
lot of secrets back in the
And
day.
yeah, but I also question whether or
Man
not
can
that
have
really
two families
was.
in the same city. In neighboring cities, he got two different
And
families.
they
And they
oftentimes
wouldn't know.
did, but I feel as though one of those women, whoever the main woman was, she knew. She knew something. I think that
Again,
there's intuition that we
speculation.
all have. You eventually put two and two together, like, okay, okay, okay. So, I mean, on one hand, I agree with Ivory. Like, yeah, it would be the right thing for the kid to come to the funeral. But then on the other side, like you said,
No,
but if
no.
nobody knew, which I don't believe is the case, but if nobody knew, now who the fuck is this kid?
No, I
who is
say
this?
it.
Who is this
If he had to
kid?
kill somebody else, then the kid and the mother or father should be able to come.
I see that goes
So
back to my
here,
statement of
here comes
mourn in silence as you were.
why.
Mourn on the back row like you were.
So
Why? Because I
Odell said
think
no right answer to this question,
right.
but he said a fight, a fight coming though.
It's gonna go down at the funeral.
Jules said that's a quick way to have all that grief turn to anger.
Mm-hmm.
Someone at the service knows and will speak on it. See, that's the problem. People speaking on stuff, just unless they want to throw down, they best stay hidden. People have problems with keeping composure about themselves, even in tense situations. The only time I would have problem keeping my composure at a funeral is if people acting up. Like don't act up. Don't act up. Because you know what? This is what frustrates me. Because now you're making it more about you than the actual person. Now that's gonna piss me off.
Well, and some people do that with everything,
That will piss me. It ain't about you. And some
Right.
people get up there, and it ain't just about the side chick. Some people get up there. Well, these are black funerals I'm talking about. I can't speak to white funerals. Been to a couple white funerals. They really usually go a lot smoother. It's a smooth process. Black funerals can be much different, but it's like, man, they got to get up there first. Again, you ain't been around for the last 7-8 years, and now you want to get up and hold a 45-minute rundown of everything and how you knew the person. It's like, look, stop it. If you was actually around, you wouldn't have to tell all these stories that don't nobody know about.
Right.
Just stop it. So that now, that would be, I'm gonna tell you right now. So if y'all go to my funeral, I'm letting you know. Don't nobody act a fool. But anybody who start making it more about themselves than make it about me, that's a problem. Now you can cut up on them. So anyway, this is my comment. It says, yes, my mature state. That person is dead and all of their flaws died with them. It doesn't matter anymore. That person was in their life because they chose for them to be. That's a fresh word, Q. Everyone say their final goodbye and keep it moving. Of course, that's in a perfect mature world, but Jules' scenario is most probable. So yeah, I think that was the last, and that's where I stand on it. Again, I think the first thing that I said is they had that person in their lives.
They did. They did.
Okay. If this is a celebration, is this about you or is it a celebration of their life?
I mean, but you also have to remember when it comes to a funeral, regardless of whether you knew the person was ill and was, maybe on their last leg, or, or had a traumatic accident and, died, completely unexpectedly. Like, when we're talking about a funeral, there's so much emotion, there's so much grief, there's so much fear, there's so much turmoil, there's so much insecurity. Like, there's so much happening emotionally, like at that time, because obviously the funeral happens right after the death happens, that I think that I feel as though I probably shouldn't have expectations of the mistress or Mr. We're going to call him Mr. the mistress or Mr. because they're already involved with somebody who is married. They're already involved with somebody who has another family. And I don't care what the situation is that got you to that point. That is not okay for me ever. You leave one before you get into another, period. So
okay, in that scenario, what would you do if, say, you're and by the way, I think this scenario came from, have you watched the show Queens?
No.
Okay, this is a TV show with Eve and Brandy.
Oh, okay.
That was a scenario recently, a couple weeks ago
on the show.
On that show. So I think that's where that comes from. So you've been married to someone 15, 20 years, got a family, got kids with them. Person dies. Funeral, how would you respond to that situation if side chick shows up to pay their final respects?
You don't have a place here. You don't have a place here. Yeah, you are going to have to figure out how you are going to mourn your relationship with this person in your way. But and that's not to say that I'm trying to make the funeral be about me, because that's not what I'm trying to do. But as a side piece, as a Mr. or a Mrs., If you know that you are engaged with somebody who has another family, who has another family, and you partake in that, you have to understand there's a part of some things you're not going to be a part of. There's a part of some things you don't get privilege to. You just don't. You're not a main, you're not the wife, you're not the husband, you're not the mother or father of their children. Like, you're not the one that is calling the shots legally with this person. So there's going to have to be a role in which you accept. And that may be you don't get to come to the funeral. That's not your place. You can have your relationship with that person. You can love that person. No one's going to change what your relationship was. And that, and the Mr. or Mrs. may love their person they're having an affair with more than the person that they've chosen to stay with. And that's all fine and dandy. But you have to accept a role. You have to accept a role when you play that fucking game. So you don't get to come to the funeral.
The animosity comes from is that while they were on this planet, that person stole either a little bit, a lot of bit, or they stole more love away from that person than that person was given to you.
And well, yes, because if you've got, I mean, emotional, physical, sexual, like all of those things, if you're splitting yourself between multiple relationships, you know, and you're trying to act like you're committed to these people, yeah, you can't love you can't give 100% of love to one family if you're dipping over here and dipping over here. So, I mean, of course, that's where some of that animosity comes from.
That's the deceit. So now you're misplacing your anger.
It's not misplaced anger. It's not your place. It's not your place. Not right now. Not today. It's not your place. You chose to be in a relationship with somebody under false pretenses, under deceptive practices, with manipulation, lying, sneaking, all of those things. That's fine. If you choose to do that, you can't be in that A1 position when you're not A1.
I didn't say that they should be sitting up on the front row with the family.
I mean, they goddamn sure better not be. You talking about a fight? Shit, about to clean this motherfucker up with you.
Scoot over a little bit. Can you scoot over?
That would be horrible. And you know that that's how some people do. It's a bunch of chicks and it's a bunch of dudes out there who have done this. And that's why I got a friend. She was like, the last time I went to a family funeral, she's like, I'm not going to no more. She's like, I don't remember who it was. It was one of the men in her family who had passed away. He's an old pimp, you know, so he had a slew of bitches that came to his funeral. And legit, like, a gunfight broke out at the funeral. And she was like, I'm done. She's like, I'm done.
Yeah, that's the reason not to go to them funerals anymore.
So as the person,
selfish, but if it's a gunfight, then no, just
it's straight up gunfight happened. So it's just not your place. It's not your place, and you don't get to create that space. You're going to have to find a way to mourn in a way in which it respects that other that Mr. or Mrs. primary family, because you were not a part of that. No matter how much they said that you were going to be a part of that, or how much they promised that you would be a part of that, you weren't. You were a part of their life. No one's going to take that away from that person, but this is not your place. You can come to the funeral house when it's over. You can go to the cemetery anytime you want to, but you don't get to share that space with that person's, you know, the people that you thought was the only people in the picture. And I don't think that that's being selfish. I don't think that that's being, you know, trying to make it be about, you know, that particular person. There is a role in which you have to assume if you get into a relationship with somebody who is in a relationship with somebody else. Like, straight up, I would never, as a side chick, I would never get with a dude and like automatically just start demanding like main chick benefits and main chick emotions and main chick privileges. Like, nah,
I ain't saying they should sit at the front, and I don't think that they should be up front holding the mic talking about their relationship.
Nah, you don't get no spot.
They should be able to come and especially, let's go back to if this person has kids.
That makes it challenging.
They should. Would you even want that person's child to be able to get some type of closure?
I don't think that all things happen. But I also feel very differently about like the actual funeral um, experience, like the funeral experience, the burial experience. Like, for me, I'm one of those. Once the body ceases to,
Right.
be alive anymore, it's over. It's over.
Right.
So all that funeral shit literally is actually fucking for us. It's not for the dead person. It's for us. It's to put on a show for us. Like, that's not for the dead person. So
So that
you're
confirms your
gonna have
point as to why
no.
you don't want her to show up, because this is about you and you paying your
No,
funeral respect.
no, but your question being like, how does that child get closure? Because
Right.
it ain't gonna happen it ain't gonna happen as the casket closes
I think
anyways.
that's a huge part of it, though.
Go to the cemetery. Go to the cemetery. Go to the cemetery. Find closure at the cemetery. What if the person is cremated as opposed to the cemetery? You have no ashes. You don't. You got nothing. I don't know.
So
That's the risky move that you have to accept when you decide to be somebody's mistress or mister. It is. It ain't gonna be a perfect situation.
I do agree with that.
It sucks. It sucks.
Would
Ultimately, though,
you
I
want?
would
Hold on,
hope the
I got a
child would be
question.
taken care of. Though I do hope that the
I
child
have a
would be taken
question
care
though.
of.
I got a question. You got kids. They have kids.
Hmm.
They're siblings.
Yes, they are.
Would you want them to know who their siblings are?
I think in time it would be important because I do think that I do think that
See,
children. I do think
and
so.
I think so. Now, this is where it gets selfish. This is where it gets selfish. You could be depriving, because listen, number one, you're depriving children from having a real relationship with their siblings, because
Right.
what you do when you grow up, it makes a huge difference if you grow up with someone versus, oh, now that you're 18, oh yeah,
Right.
remember the one
Right.
little kids that was sitting in the back? Yeah, that's actually your brother or
Right.
sister. So then
Right.
it could be some type of resentment to the surviving parent, like, why would you keep me from my brother and sister all this time? That's number
Sure.
one. Number two, we do a disservice to our children by painting fairy tales. This stuff happens, man.
True. True.
So it's like, hey,
True.
you know what? This is your half brother. This is your half sister. Well, how's that my half? Because that's their mother. Your father had a child by this. So whatever he did if it tarnishes his legacy, then that's just what it is. But that's life.
Well, and
I
that's why
gotta
I
tell
say in
life the way
time.
it
I
is.
I I fully support that.
And you can't
And
make it something crazy to where that, and I think that's why. Let me get in trouble real quick. I think that's why women so screwed up right now. It's because we have these tainted images of what the images of how we think life. That ain't the case. It's just not.
Right.
It's just as likely that the man or the woman had some side dude as they live. It's actually more likely than saying somebody lived together and was married for 50 years and had a monogamous relationship the whole time. That's super rare. And then even most of those cases, that just mean they was real good. They went 50 years without, and they kept all their dirt covered, usually.
Or it was hella toxic and they just never left each other and
All of
they
that.
just
It
stayed.
could be any of that. But when you
Right.
don't talk about it and all you say is oh and ooh, and then you create this appetite to where men and women say, I want that relationship. Now they're aiming after something it's hopeful. That can be the goal, but understand that that's not probable, or it's not even realistic at the same time either. You have to understand that this is just as natural as what you're reaching for. It's just as natural for you to come to a funeral, and then it could be some other people in this room who knew your father a little bit more intimately than that we just got to have those conversations. I don't we
You
don't help each other
do.
when we don't have the conversations.
No, it is important to have
And
the
I don't think you gotta wait
conversations.
till you grown either. By the time the kids start hitting puberty, if it's out there, if it's even
Right.
kind of out there, then you need to go and talk about it.
Right.
Because now
Agree.
half of this stuff, by the time now you didn't wait until they 18 and 19 to talk about it, and they like, yeah, I knew that.
Well, and then you think about the reality of things. Secrets. We are only as sick as our secrets. And how many? I don't know about in your family. How many secrets have been uncovered as you've gotten older and shit. Things that you were like, you've got to be fucking kidding me, or even things that you were like, I knew it. 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 But secrets do nobody any good. And it's disappointing, as I've aged, to hear some of the things that have come out in different places, throughout just different parts of our family. And everybody does, things their way, right? I'm not about keeping secrets, but I am about, being age appropriate, being time appropriate, being,
Right.
emotionally appropriate, and kids don't have to just be exposed to shit just because we think,
Right. Exactly.
There has to be a right time, because at the end of the day, those kids didn't ask for none of that shit. But this goes back to, if you sign up to be the Mr. or the Mrs., this is a dynamic, and then you get pregnant, and then you have children with this person. This is a really selfish fucking dynamic that you put those kids in, that you are choosing to put your children in. And now somebody else has to deal with that.
But then the other parents start perpetuating it. The actual wife or the husband perpetuates that mess up by not talking to the children, not allowing them to see each other, not
that's
saying what it is.
Now that's selfish. Now that's acting emotionally.
But people have that's what I think. I think our timeline is off. When you say, I agree, there is a time, a space, a age appropriate time to tell people, but I think our gauge of when that timing is off. And I think just because even if something was appropriate, an appropriate age 25 years ago is probably not an appropriate age now.
True.
Kids grow up faster. They have more information earlier.
True.
And just think about it. Don't forget, most of the stuff, by the time our parents tried to bring something to us, they were late. We forget that.
Right.
I don't know about in your household because y'all might be more open, but most of the stuff, parents try to, by the time you tell them, like, yeah, you late.
Like I've been
you trying to allude to something. I'm in the 10th grade and we were talking about this in the 5th grade. Like, you late.
Well, and
it would have been more beneficial had you start educating me and making me aware that you're aware of these things. Because now you just look out of touch.
Right.
Because you don't, all this stuff that I was dealing with or had questions about, and I learned from my friends or my older cousins or other people or, younger aunties and aunts, they were giving me all these half informations where it would have been better had you started telling me these things at an earlier time. And I could have had a different relationship with you because I could actually look at you as somebody being in touch versus, I didn't know that my parents actually knew. Right. I figured it was just dumb. Like, y'all don't know what going on. Y'all don't know what going on in real life. They really did. But if you don't tell us, how will we know? Well,
this is where being an effective parent, period, is hella critical. Not a right or a wrong parent, but an effective parent. And at what point is it now this child's responsibility to take on this information, right? Like, unfortunately, we're now dumping this thing onto children because they are the ones that are left to kind of pick up the pieces of their adults, of their parents. But I guess my point with this being funeral action, right? So again, funeral is right after a death happens. We're talking about... But we're talking about emotions being all over the place, so like people have to have their time and their space to grieve first, to figure some shit out first, to then even be able to take on more information like that. Like, there's no right time to handle betrayal. There's no right time to handle deceit. There's no right time to have to tell your fucking kids, oh yeah, guess what? You got some half siblings. Like, there's no right time to have that conversation. But if you are an effective parent, you're going to have that conversation. But I don't think having them people come to the funeral is where it's at, because this is not the time.
Y'all sit down at the funeral and have a discussion about it. I'm not saying
no, but that person being there, that person being there, that presence, no, that's just you gonna have to take that loss. As the Mr. or Mrs., you got to take that loss. You gonna have to sit out in the car in the parking lot. You don't get to come in.
I wouldn't send a golden invitation to them and ask them to come, but if they showed up, and as long as they were respectful and they didn't cause issues or try to make something about themselves,
but your presence is disrespectful. Your presence may be disrespectful to somebody. If that person's
spouse cheating was disrespectful,
that is true. That is true. That is true. Well, farewell your ass at the cemetery. Farewell your ass at the obituary in the paper. Listen, you don't get to come to the funeral. If you were that appalled with what your spouse did, then you shouldn't be at the funeral. I mean, I might not be. Your ass get cremated, baby. Fuck everybody. You going into the furnace.
I mean, if he or she was that trifling, then you don't come to the funeral.
You're right. And maybe the person wasn't trifling. Maybe they literally just had one, affair, or like whatever, right? It could be super trifling. It could be, not super trifling.
Right.
But you assume a position, you assume a role when you are the Mr. or Mrs. And there are some things that you are not going to be entitled to. And that for me is going to be one of those spaces. And I only say that because I've sat in that room and is together as I like to feel like I am usually, or as emotionally like calibrated as I like to try to think I am, or logically calibrated as I like to try to think that I am. Like if my dad had another woman, and my dad had other women, like that, that was my dad. But like if he had another woman pop up at his funeral like that, assuming him and my mom were still married, which they weren't, like that would have just been that's just offensive. That's literally pouring salt on an already gaping wound. Like you are going to have to go figure out how you're going to mourn this person in your way. And eventually, whenever the time presents itself, if there are children involved, we will have that conversation. And this is just speaking for me, I would never be the type of woman who would exclude somebody's kids like that, later on down the line, finding out that like my children had some half siblings. Like, fuck, all right, let's go on ahead and make this work, right? Like, but I'm not vindictive, and I'm not bitter, and I'm not fucking immature like that when it comes to children. And some people are. Some people come to those funerals to be a antagonistic energy. And for that, you can't be there. There's too many high emotions and too much grief at that moment.
That's my issue with anybody, whether you decide peace, the cousin, the relative, the best friend, whatever. If you come being antagonistic or trying to make it about yourself, then I'm gonna have a problem.
Showing up is making it about you, because you know that you don't need to be there. You don't need to be there.
And that's it comes. It's an energy thing too. You got to feel the energy. If the energy ain't right, that's what Willie D said that in his he was interviewing like when Bushwick died. They, asked, did you go to the funeral? Like, no, I didn't go to the funeral. He's like, well, why you? He's like, look, me and Bill didn't like each other like that. We was in the same rap group, but we clashed that we didn't like each other like that. It would be disingenuous for me to come show up at the funeral like we cool. We wasn't that cool.
Damn.
And he was like, that's just what it is. Y'all, I ain't got no problem with him. God bless him, but we wasn't cool. Why would I be trying to show up to his funeral? I'm like, he kept it 100. He was like, no, I'm not going to his funeral.
Yeah, I just feel like sometimes people use things like funerals as like this pecking order type of thing, like, I don't know.
That's selfish.
It is selfish. It is selfish. I know
what you're saying. I agree with that. The person is dead, man. Come on.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. So now it's one of those things to where that tells me a lot about you and how you're going to operate moving forward. Like if I'm going there, I'm going to get from the selfish aspect. I'm going to get closure for myself. I'm going to say my goodbyes. I'm going to do my part in making the steps to peace in this situation. So me going to the funeral, paying my respects, is it going to give me peace? Depending on who it is, maybe not then, but that's a part of the process. That's what I'm here for. All that other stuff.
As a Mr. or Mistress?
The Mistress, the Mr., the Mistress, the grandson, whatever it is, it don't matter. I'm going to get closure. I'm here to pay respects to that person, to walk with the people who also love this person. And that could be anybody. They dead. Why are you beefing over a dead person? Unless that person directly had something to do with their death, it don't even matter no more. And then it might
not matter to you, but it do matter to other people, because it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
They did a lot of disrespectful stuff,
and that's true.
While they were alive.
It's true. It's true.
How could I be more upset with that person than I was with the one who died, who
Because
in the
it
situation?
ain't your place. It ain't your place.
No,
It
and
ain't.
not
It
only
ain't. It
that, let
ain't.
me
It
go a
ain't your
step
place.
further. Let me go a step further. Even if I was married and my wife did that and somebody, I don't trip as much. That man, the side dude, he didn't have no obligation to me. My wife had an
No.
obligation to me.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I cannot be more mad at him than I am at her. Her
I mean,
obligation, her
you. I
commitment, her
mean,
covenant
you.
was to
You
me.
can, but if you choose not to, that's
It would
okay.
be
But
foolish for me to be.
he. But he has no privilege. He has earned. He has no privilege to come to
I'm
your
not
wife's
talking
funeral. Look,
privilege. The
no. You mourn her over
privilege.
here. You mourn her over here in secret, just like you was a secret. And honestly, at the end of the day, I honestly think that closure is bullshit. To be completely honest, I feel like the classic closure that people feel like, oh, I have to have closure is so
If I
important.
spent the entire funeral with my energy focused on the side dude, how you gonna get closure off of that? That's a waste of my time.
Say that again.
If I spend the so somebody, I'm at the funeral, side dude show up.
Mm-hmm.
I spend the entire funeral mad because he's sitting somewhere in the back and it's just irritating me, and I'm mad and I'm ready to fight. This was supposed to be my time.
And he took that
That
from you.
no, he did not.
He
I
did by
stole it.
showing
No, he
up.
didn't.
He
No, he
did by
didn't.
showing
He didn't
up.
take it. He didn't take
He
it. I
did,
thought it was
and
my turn.
that's why he showed up. He showed up to make
No,
sure
he
the
didn't.
people knew.
No.
Yes, he did.
So now,
Yes, he
so now
did.
you think they doing that just to get at everybody else?
Some people want to be seen. Some
Your
people
mind
want to
is
be
wrapped up in the
relevant.
weeds. No, your mind is wrapped up in the weeds. That's
People
not even
want to
important.
be relevant. People do all kind of shit to be relevant. People do all
No.
kind of shit to be seen. People do
Even
all
if
kind
they
of shit to be
did,
heard.
I don't have to give them that energy. Now, like I said, they try to come sit up on the front row. That's something different. That's different.
Why? I mean, fuck it. Go ahead and invite them to the fan. Go ahead, bring them in a limo. Let them
If
ride
you choose
to the cemetery with you.
if
I
you
mean,
chose to,
no. This
if
is
you
not
chose
your
to,
place. This is not your
but I'm
place.
saying
This
the
is
respect,
not your place. This
me
ain't your
paying my
place.
respects is not me trying to get in the space of their other family.
You ain't worried about them respects. You fucking somebody else's man or woman. you ain't worried about respect.
Why would
So
I be worried about that person? My spouse was the one messing with that dude.
right.
Did I
Him
stay?
showing up
Did I
is
stay with the,
disrespectful to you. Him
did I
showing up
stay
is
with the spouse?
disrespectful to your
Did you stay
children
with?
and
If
family.
you stay with your spouse, then that's hypocritical for you to even say that.
That's if you knew or not. Maybe you just were assuming they were unfaithful, or maybe you did know that they were unfaithful. It's not hypocritical. Some people just stay. Some people just fucking stay. And I guess maybe that could be a whole other dynamic. A person who knew
You
that their partner was unfaithful versus
so
a
you
person who
saying
did
because this
not know.
person then decided to share the same room with you for the next 2.5 hours, but you decided to share the same house with your partner for the next 2 or 3 years, even after you found out, and you still gonna be outraged about that person.
I mean, you still that person's
It's
significant other.
still, but
You
that's
still
a
that
twisted
you
way of
still that
thinking.
person's husband or wife. I mean, I'm not saying it's the right way to think. I'm fucking out of there. I ain't finna stay with nobody who cheats. I don't do the cheater thing. But
Okay, so that would be more. That would make more sense than you staying in the relationship, and then after everything is over, then you side eyeing and ready to fight somebody because they show up to the
no, now
funeral.
if you're in a
They ain't
relationship and
show up to
you've
your house.
been knowing, no, you might as well you showed up
If
to the
they if
goddamn
if,
funeral
if they
shit
were
that you
showing
ain't
up at
planned
your
or
house and
prayed
they were
or
showing up,
prepared nothing for. Nah, you might as well. You might as well. This is supposed to be the farewell goodbye, the last time before
say
we
your
drop them in the
goodbye.
ground.
Say your
No.
goodbye and stop worried about the other person around. Why are you worried about that's weird for a funeral?
It's not about being worried. It's just fucking
It is. Your
disrespectful. It's
your
not
energy is
your
in the
place.
wrong
It's not your
spot.
place. It's not your place. It's not your place. I just
Even
think
if
it
it's
is
not,
unbelievably disrespectful.
even if it's not, I'm not releasing my energy to attend to that unless there being a
You say
distraction
that
or a
and you say
problem.
that now, but at the time and the emotions running the way that they are at a funeral, we just talked about how crazy some funerals be,
But
how emotional sometimes they
Nikki,
get.
that's even more disrespectful for me because now I'm highlighting the flaws of the person that's in that coffin.
What you mean?
By me going over there making a scene, get your ass up. What the hell are you doing in here? This blah 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 blah
Right.
blah. I'm highlighting their flaws. Because the reason I have an issue with them is because they was messing around with my spouse or whoever it was. And by me going over there making a scene, I'm highlighting that person's flaws in the middle of their final moment.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't want to do that. I would try to be as less embarrassed as possible. But some people don't give a fuck. And when you've got people who don't give a fuck, whose emotions, but if your emotions are raw and you know hey, I'm just saying, when you sign up as the Mr. or Mrs., there's just gonna be some roles you do not get to fulfill. There's some privileges you don't get. And I don't think that I think that some people can go into this selfishly, and I think that some people don't go into this selfishly. I just know that I would not be okay with that.
Now, if you know this, hold on, let me go here. If you know this, that your spouse had a side chick or whatever, this will be my suggestion. Husband dead. You know he had a side chick, so whatever. It's okay to hit them up. It's okay to make sure you send out proper communication. Just so y'all know, this is a sensitive time for us. You mourn how you want to mourn. Don't show up at the church. Don't show up at the cemetery. You do it on your own time. Now, no. That's communication. The word has been sent out. So now when they show up, they should expect to get dragged up out of there. But what I'm saying is, even if that's the case, it's you just saying, well, it should have been known you shouldn't have showed up. And now you're gonna cause a scene just because somebody showed up and it wasn't direct. I
wouldn't cause a scene per se, but I am also not in the time of going through the first stages of grief. This person just passed away. We're planning their funeral. I have to tell these children their dad's dead. I'm not gonna call my husband's mistress and let her know.
You don't have to call. Look, you call. Hey,
I'm not gonna communicate with you. I'm not gonna tell you don't come. Like, I'm not doing any of that. I need you to
call the whole number 1, whole number 2, and whole number 3.
Somebody better take care of that shit, because if this bitch show up to the fucking funeral,
and your sister and your cousin will be like, "Oh, I got it, no problem," and they ain't gonna have no problem getting the word out there.
Yeah, no. I need. If my man go motherfucking cheat, I'm out of there. But if I, for some reason, don't leave your ass, I need you to pick a broad who's gonna know her motherfucking place, because I'm gonna make sure she's staying it. She need to know her place. But that's coming from somebody who's not going to be in that situation. I'm not staying.
The conversation that I'm speaking of, am I loud? Because I can't hear myself that good.
No, you're good. No, okay. I think you're good. Kevin, what do you sound like?
Yeah, if I'm too loud, let me know. I'll turn my mic down. The conversation I'm speaking of is speaking to, right now, I'm speaking to the spouse. Or I'm speaking to the family. Now, if I was speaking to the side chick or the side dude, I'd probably have a slightly different conversation. I'll probably tell them, why do you need to be there in the midst of a bunch of people who I'm pretty sure they don't like you? Right. I'm pretty sure a lot of them want to fight you. Why would you? What is your purpose for showing up right there?
Right.
What is it about this specific moment where you feel like you got to?
This is where I need to be.
And then that's why I start digging in. In most situations, the funeral is in a in a black church. Funeral Saturday, sometime on Sunday. It's the wake is the day before, right? You can go to the wake. You can view the body. You can pay your last respects on because the wake is usually just a walkthrough. You know, people walk through, they see the body, they cry, do whatever they do, and then the funeral is the actual service. So why didn't you just go to the wake? Why didn't you just pass through at the wake? Ain't nobody had to see you. Come and you go and you pass on through. So I would have a different set of questions for the side person.
Right. Yes, and somebody else would have to make those calls. Somebody else definitely has to be in charge of those calls.
Did they give you the green light and tell you it's okay?
Right.
Why would you just show up without even getting permission? That don't sound wise. especially. And then if you got a child, I definitely wouldn't encourage you to bring your child in the middle of no foolishness.
Hell no.
I don't want to see you get snatched up while your child there. That's not smart. So I'd have a totally different conversation with the side person.
Yeah, I tried to look at that question as in a variety of different ways, and not to be selfish when I answered it, or not, think about it emotionally. And I was just like, no, you gotta go be a secret the way that you was a secret, And that doesn't mean you have to last that way forever. It's not selfish, but you ain't. No, it's not selfish. No, it's not. Selfish was my man cheating. Selfish was my man cheating with this broad. Selfish was this broad messing with my man, knowing that he got a family. So that's her problem. That's gonna be y'all issue. But today, when I put this motherfucker to rest, like, nah, this is me, my people, our family, what we built, what we did, whatever y'all did. Shit, you have your own funeral form if that's what you need to do.
So do you think that
you're not coming to mine.
So then my question will become, it would be hard for me to believe, and we going back to the scenario, if the side chick had kids with her, it would be hard for me to believe that you're gonna be a responsible parent when the time comes to, reach out, have a conversation with tell your kids about their brothers and sisters.
You can totally separate those issues. You can totally separate those issues.
The presence of someone paying
not
their
at that
final
time, not at
person.
that time, at that moment, in that space.
If they try to speak maybe we can't speak to each other, but everybody got to pay their respects. I got another side question real quick, and I didn't mean side question as in side. So in a lesser manner, what about because this is something that you see a lot of times too. Say a parent, mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, whatever, and maybe one of the aunties, their brothers or sisters, they've been beefing for the last 5-10 years, been saying some crazy wayward stuff, and you knew it wasn't no love there. It ain't been no love for a long time. And then the person show up all of a sudden for the funeral. And then, so do you still have that same energy? Like, no, you didn't even like her. You didn't like them.
It really got to depend on what the beef is. But it has to depend on it depends on what the beef is. But that's not, you can't even compare. Those are like apples and oranges. We're talking about an intimate relationship where someone's been deceptive versus a non-intimate relationship where someone's just been beefing and been trifling or been messy. Like, those are not the same to me.
I'm gonna keep going down this rabbit hole a little further. What if the mistake happened with a family member? Did you ever watch Soul Food?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What if it was Faith was the one that was she's part of the family, but so do she still get to come to the funeral?
I mean, at that point, you already know. It's not a secret. It's not. I mean, it's out there.
That don't make a difference. That shouldn't.
Well, yeah, because with some affairs, your partner may not fucking know. You may not know anything, But in this situation, everybody knew. So I mean, it's already out there. That's just one of them situations where you have to deal with some unsavory bullshit, unfortunately, because your significant other did some hoe shit. But you gonna have a place. You better know your spot too, or there's gonna be them ushers right next to you that's gonna get you up out of here whenever you act in some type of way that I don't like. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to be here. You don't have to be here. I'm letting you be here. I'm letting you come up in here. You ain't gotta be here, and I ain't gotta let you. But and that's me really trying to not fucking sound selfish. But like there's rules.
Sound selfish.
There's rules to this. There are rules. There's rules to this. When you are the Mr. or Mistress, like I said, there is a role. You just have to assume there are going to be some privileges you don't get. Period.
You not coming to the house. You're not doing a
Shit,
lot
that's
of
a
stuff.
privilege. That's a
It's a
privilege.
funeral. This is
You
a
get to come
goodbye.
around, you get to be
Even if
around,
I
you get to
see
see
you,
people, you get
I
to
don't
be
need to see you
involved
no
in this
more.
process.
That's for the next couple of hours. I don't need to see none of that.
See, but
Now,
I'm not finna. I don't subject myself to shit that don't vibe for me, right? Either. So, like I'm very particular about, protecting my peace and having my partner's mistress or mister at their funeral would definitely be something that um, disturbs my peace. And you just can't do that.
If they loved my partner,
that's
and I
fine.
never
You can love them at the
and I
funeral
never had
at the
beef with
gravesite.
them, long as I ain't
Love 'em.
never had beef with them, then I'd be focused on what I need
Well,
to be
you
focused
are a better man than I am, woman. So I will just give that to you
on.
because no,
Oh yeah,
no.
I definitely didn't expect us to agree on this conversation,
I
which
know
made for a good conversation.
I know when you posted your thoughts, I was like, oh hell no, we got to talk about this shit. I was like, I can't type this one. It's
They
too much to be
did. It's
said.
over. They did.
You're right. You're right.
Closure.
But
It's
it's
done.
not over yet
It
because we
is
got this
over.
last little
It's
hump to still
over.
go through, which is this fucking funeral. And getting through a funeral, you've been to funerals. Getting through a funeral is traumatic. So why go add more trauma into a situation
And
that's
I think,
already
see,
emotionally strained?
and maybe this is probably just me over. So even as this, I'll reach the final chapter with this person.
Mm-hmm.
I want to reach a final chapter with all things considered. That can be a final chapter. So I want to feel like if I see this person at the grocery store, I'm not going to try to run them over with a car, do something stupid. And
Right.
if they can't sit in the back row while I'm at then it shows that person still holds me hostage. That's like one of the basic, forgiveness mindsets that people have. Forgiveness is not about the other person, it's about yourself.
Right.
So if you show that you can't even do that, then it's like this situation still holds you hostage.
Funeral emotions are high. I still think that's important to consider that. Emotions are super
I
high.
totally disagree with you. That's all.
Yeah, during a funeral, emotions are just too high at that moment. Like, and I've also, watched my parents be responsible when it came to how they handled their adult affairs, to know that jealousy and all that extra shit, serves absolutely no purpose, in these types of scenarios. That doesn't mean that a person's natural first response may not be one of those unsavory, responses. Right. But there is a time and place for everything. And for me, just how close a funeral is to a death, it's just not the right time. It's too much emotional shit going on at that place. And honestly, like if I was somebody's side chick and my dude died, I'd be like, let me have some fucking balls about myself as a woman and not go and disrupt this woman's peace or disrupt these people's peace. Like true. I done already fucked up by being with her man. Let me fucking do this one thing right.
If you was really respectful about the situation, you'd ask permission, and I wouldn't even go ask the sister. Hey, go ask Nikki. Would it be okay?
Yeah, I ain't asking. I'm not gonna ask. I'm not.
But I'm saying
I have to expect. I have to assume my role. I have to assume.
But that's what I said because you're not gonna show up. You're not gonna show up. But if you were to show up, then at least the proper way to go about doing it. Let me ask you, hey, look, I know it's tight right now, tight for me too. Ask your sister, I don't want to cause no trouble. I don't want no problems. I'm just sitting back. I just want to pay my respects. If she say no, I'm perfectly fine with that. If she say yeah, you ain't gonna you'll barely see me.
Yeah.
And then if you say, and then you be like, no, that's what it is. I know.
It's cool. I guess that's cool for one person to ask, but I am just going to have to. That's one of those places where I just have to fucking, what they say, grin and bear it. Just the cards I've been dealt.
The best thing to do is probably not to show up. If you just felt so compelled to do it, the proper thing to do, check with somebody in the family first and get clearance to see if it's okay. And if they
Right.
say no, then keep your butt at home.
Right. Please don't show up.
Yeah. And some of the stuff ain't even complicated. But then you just
You know,
showing up out the
because
blue like you have rights to show up and you don't owe an explanation. That's ballsy.
yeah. And that's where the shootout happens at the
And
funeral.
not only that, see now that also speaks to your mindset too, because now it's like, so you do feel like you have some sense of entitlement to where you could just show up and you ain't have to tell nobody. I kind of see why you got dragged up out of there.
Mm-hmm.
You came here getting entitled, acting entitled.
Trying to throw it around a little bit. Not today. Not today.
And that's the thing. Like under what I go by hood rules, okay? I'm not much of a hood dude, but I still got a little left in me. Basic hood rules. You know the neighborhoods that I come walking through with my nuts hanging out? They're my neighborhoods. The hoods that I have a pass in. Hoods where people know me. Hoods where so when I go to other hoods, I might check.
Right.
I'm gonna go over some of my people's house here. Come on through. Hey, you need to, especially up in the Midwest. Yo, is it okay? Let me check and make sure before I come through here. Before I come on your street, you let people know. It's one of those, because if it ain't cool, then I'm not coming through. Right. There's no other. So what I'm saying is, there's no other situation in a potentially hostile environment. You don't get a pass first. You don't check and get permission before you just come rolling through there.
Right.
And then that's how you get dragged up out of there.
Right.
That's even on the street level. You get dragged out of there because you came up in there thinking that this was your street and it wasn't your street. You came in with a sense of entitlement and you got told otherwise.
And don't nobody want all that. Don't nobody want all that extra shit at the funeral. Not today.
Chicago
now.
People will question. Like, you ever get into a conversation with somebody from Chicago and they'll give you a whole rundown. They'll tell you the street, the projects, the apartment number, everything.
It's relevant though in Chicago.
Yeah.
That's relevant.
I'm over at 51st State Street over such garden apartment, Rosie, this and this. And they have a tagline. They give you a whole rundown. Like, no, this is my
rep your city.
So one of the reasons why I never say I'm from Chicago, I'm from Decatur. It's a couple hours away. If you say
I know this. Chicago, I've been to both of these places now.
You drove, yes. If you add somebody from Chicago, you tell them you from Chicago right now, they're gonna ask you where, and they need an exact
north side, south side.
You got south side, which apartments, which street, and you got to name a cousin, a brother.
Well, and their suburbs are like every street over is a new suburb. So I was floored when we went to Cicero, and then there's Berwyn, and there's like all the, and it's like it's like Round Rock having like 4 suburbs in Round Rock. I was like, this is fucking crazy to me. I'm like, like everything is Chicago. It's just not called Chicago. Right. No, so I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Anyway, you should get permission first. That's my advice to side people.
You should get permission, but you also should not fucking ask.
I wouldn't ask the person directly. Just ask somebody.
Hell no.
Ask somebody. No. Ask a cousin, ask a sister, ask somebody they know. If you feel if you that sly, then you need to pose as a funeral home worker and just be sliding your ass in and out the, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you feel so compelled to have to say your goodbyes and watch that casket close, then, and again, so it started with what I said in the very beginning. Maybe I shouldn't have expectations of a side piece, right? Like, I just don't have good things to say about people who participate in cheating. If your man was a good man, then you understand why she liked him.
He ain't, because he cheated. He ain't. No, he ain't. You can't be them two things at the same time. No, baby. No.
He's really a good guy. Yeah, I see why you liked him.
Lying, sneaky, manipulative, deceptive. No. I get it. So you have to assume your position. You just period. Just period. Now the kids think through it for a whole nother spin. I was cool with everything until somebody had mentioned kids, and I was like, "Fuck, that does change things." But this is the part of being irresponsible as an adult. Like, just even allowing yourself to be in that position. And I know heat of the moment is the heat of the moment, right? I've done some dumbass shit in the heat of the moment too. But god damn, when you're messing with somebody else's person, when you're messing with somebody else's husband or wife, man, you don't get to get pregnant. You don't get to be sloppy like that. And some people do
Oh,
because they
sloppy
feel
thing.
like, oh well, now I can keep you forever, or now I'll be able to have you forever, or somehow that gives me a position in your life. And it's like, I don't.
Three things in
I
life sloppy. Love is sloppy. Sex is sloppy. Cheating is sloppy. All of it
Yeah,
is just sloppy.
it is sloppy. It
And if
ain't
it don't
gotta be
start,
sloppy.
yeah, it do.
I mean, the
It'll
sex can stay sloppy, but
eventually
the
end.
rest of that shit ain't
Even if
gotta be
it's it'll
sloppy. No.
still end sloppy in most situations.
No, it ain't gotta be. But that's what I'm saying.
You're
That's
right. It
that's
don't have to be.
it ain't
But
gotta be like that.
the fact that you are tells something about your mindset on top of that.
Of course.
So if your mind
Yeah.
ain't all the way, if you ain't all the way together as far as with your goals, dreams, and what you want in life, then yes, of course, you made a sloppy decision. So cheating is a sloppy decision, even though it don't have to
Mhm.
be. There's very few people who are principled enough to uh, keep their stuff clean while they're in
Mhm.
the process of doing it. And the reason they don't have the ability to do it is because they're already making bad decisions from the jump, and that speaks to
And
who they are currently.
some people get into that place where they're like, "Oh, well, I've already fucked up, so, what's one more or what's another?" Or, some people
It's
feel like some people are
it's,
like that. They'll take
it
that
is.
one mistake and use it as their example to just keep making more bad mistakes. And it's like, you just digging the freaking hole deeper and deeper on yourself.
It
But
is.
in a
It's
cheating situation, the dirt's already been done. The damage has already been done.
It's
The
cheating can
move
go
has
so
been
many
made.
different. There's people who I know cheated, um, got caught in some dirt, like
Mm,
public scandal.
mm.
But now some of these people they've been happily married for over 20 some odd years. So it's there's no uniform reason why people cheat. There's
That's
either
true.
mindset thing, it could be a physical thing, it could be
Right.
they feel like they picked the wrong one initially and now they feel like they trapped in a city. It can be like
There's a
dozens
lot
of
of
different
reasons, and
things.
I get that. I do understand there's a lot of reasons why people do look outside of their relationship
But
for
that don't make you
something
entitled.
else.
that don't make you
That don't, no,
entitled to
no,
the
no, no, you're right. That don't make you
You
entitled to
still gotta know your
shit.
place. You gotta know
There
your
is
place.
a
This is where it's at.
hierarchy in this here, baby.
Yeah, I get it.
All right, so
How
should we
much
talk
time we
about
got? We gotta
the
do a
food?
whole hard
Like
close to
yeah, like 15 minutes. We'll close at
we went
9:30.
oh yeah, we went.
Yeah, we only got
We
15
got
minutes.
time. We got time. Yeah, we got time.
So
Well, I think this one I
have
don't
you
think this one
ever
be
have you
complicated.
have you ever told a woman, and it doesn't have to be like your woman, could be your mom, could be your aunt, could be your granny, like I don't even know if you would be so daring and bold, but have you ever told a woman that her food cooking certain dish is just not good? And if you did, how did that go?
No, so, okay, so this is the I want to answer that, but I want to go through the message thread first because
Okay.
I have an answer and I think it's going to answer the whole thing
Okay.
the way I view it first.
Okay.
So, um,
That shit
my
was
answer,
hilarious.
my answer. All right, let me tell you in a second. All right, so here it is. Okay, hey babe, I just finished the sweet potato pie, dude. Cool. I can't wait to get a slice. See, why you lying? That's the first problem
Right,
already.
right, right.
You ain't got to lie. That's the first problem already.
But he didn't think it was gonna go any further. He was like, "Okay, this
You
is where this
shouldn't
is
be
gonna
lying.
stop
You
at."
shouldn't be lying about
You're
that.
right. You're
No,
right.
there's certain things you shouldn't lie about.
You're right.
That's even like okay, that's a different style. I talk about that in a second. Okay. She said you gonna have to wait till I bring it for Thanksgiving dinner. So then he said, "Hold up, you bringing it? Hold on, let me. See. I gotta get this. Okay." He said, "Hold on. Oops. Hold on. I gotta go back. Okay. So here, hold up. You bringing it to whose Thanksgiving dinner?" Said, Your family, silly ass, LOL. Don't show them how your girl coming. He said, slow your roll, shorty. And then he say, oh, okay. He said, mom's only told us to bring drinks.
Right, that's how you know you messed up.
Yeah, I know, LOL, but I got to prove myself to my in-laws. And then he say, nah, you good. She say, what you mean? He said, just save all that sweet potato pie for me, baby.
He trying. He trying.
Nah, and that's your problem.
I know he was trying. No, he was.
I'm bringing it for them too. That's what she said. Okay. He said they love you already. Let's not ruin that.
This is where he started to dig his hole.
All right. Then she said, TF you mean? He says, I love you, but ain't shit sweet about your potato pie. Is it fat free or something? Says it fat free. She said, no, it's not. It's full of sugar. He said, well, it ain't full enough. She said, you said you love it. He said, hey, we say a lot of things we don't mean. I'll suffer through it, but I'm not putting my family through that. My grandma gonna be there. You know she ain't got no filter. You want to cry on Thanksgiving? That's what he said. She said, okay, well, this is all new to me. You always smile when you eating food I cook for you. Then he said, gotta smile through the pain, you know.
See, he just fucking like nosedive after a while.
After a while, well, now him lying is one part, but at a certain point, when you're not getting the message, then I got to kind of zero in a little bit. I need you to really understand this. So yeah, he said, you got to smile through the pain, you know. And she said, F you. I sat here and made this pie. He said, maybe you should have been standing up instead. Yeah. Okay, smart A. Your homeboy told me my pie was flaming last year. So he said, and he's still flaming my ass for you making that. He hit me up the other day saying, is your girl making me some more steamed carrot pie?
Steamed carrot. It's supposed to be a sweet potato pie. He said steamed carrots. Oh God, this is a disaster.
I don't know if this is real. This is hilarious. Even if
I know.
She said, F both of y'all. How you know your family won't like it? He said, same blood, same taste buds.
Same blood, same taste buds. That would kill me.
Why don't you save it for your coworkers? She said, because last year they told me they already had enough dessert. And he says, how can you have enough dessert? That's low-key letting you know your ish is trash. She said, wrong. Everyone got full off Sharon's cupcakes. He said,
cupcakes.
Gets full off cupcakes. Babe, open your eyes. Oh my goodness. This is your first time coming for Thanksgiving dinner. Don't make it your last. I'm not finna be looking into my mama's eyes while she bite into that bland ass. I'm just being real. See, now you're just being real. You should have been real earlier on. But anyway, she said, real annoying. He said, I still love you. She said, STFU. If you loved me, you'd let me bring it. See, that's stupid.
Yeah, that was dumb. That was super childish.
And if you don't change your mind, then we're done. That's stupid. You're trying to pull Trump cards unnecessary. He said, so I got to let you bring it or we're breaking up. She said, that's MF right. So think carefully about your decision. He said, I'll see you later then. She said, that's what I thought. What time you picking me up? He said, I ain't picking you up. I'm coming to get my stuff I got over there. It was fun while it lasted. I don't think I believe part of that. I don't know if all that's true. So first of all, now I'm sorry. Ask me your question again. Oh, okay. Have you
ever had to tell somebody?
Yes and no. So first
how do you yes and no it?
The same way I do with music. There's a thing called constructive criticism.
Yeah.
you don't tell somebody you can't cook or that's bad
Right. So there's
or
obviously a way
it's
to do this.
nasty. If you don't
Right.
tell somebody why or what's missing, then you just leave it there.
Right.
No, you can't cook. No, it's bad. You can't cook as a definitive statement. That's like giving the illusion that they'll never be able to cook.
Right.
Tell them what you don't like about it. Tell them what tastes a little bit off. So there's never been a time like, no, this nasty, this gross. I can say, I don't know, something missing. Texture is off to me.
Mm-hmm.
Noodles seem like they
A little mushy.
a little mushy, or the noodles kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
A little too salty for my taste.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be more specific. It ain't just about nasty. Tell me why.
Right.
That's why I have musicians for years and years and years who would come to me whenever they make music or they finish a product. They'll come to me because I don't just say, "Oh yeah, I love it." Oh, or,
Right.
no, I hate it.
You
No,
give actual feedback.
yes.
Right.
I'm gonna tell them why or what I don't like about it. I'm gonna be
Right.
specific. The
Right.
beat is good, the production, everything sounds great. I don't think you really went in depth with this. I think you could have really went there as far as, you told a story, but it seemed like you left a lot out. I need you to really, dig deep. You need to really dig deep and be so it's different things that you can tell someone where they say, okay, now I know where to go from here.
Right.
That's and that's when I kind of laughed a little bit earlier. I talked about I think I've had these conversations about oral sex. And they be like,
Okay.
yo, if a girl is trash, do you tell her? You don't say it in that,
Oh.
but you don't. But to his problem, you don't sit there and tell somebody, "Oh, you got mama. Don't listen to this part. You can turn off now when we get You don't tell nobody, "Oh yeah, it's fire," and the truth is, it's not.
Right. It's not. Right.
Yeah,
Like, why are you lying?
you gonna keep giving me the same lazy head, thinking that
Mm-hmm. This is
you
what I
doing a
like.
good job, and now
Right.
I'm sitting up here getting these lazy blowjobs because I'm telling you it's good.
Right. Instead of
You
just
ain't
being honest.
right.
But
And then some people will tell them it's fire. Some people will just be like, nah, I'm good. No, you gonna practice makes perfect. We're gonna keep on practicing until we get this right.
so as with head, as with food, some people
Yes.
don't receive those. Some people do not receive that well. Some people think that they are so good, or some people think that their food is just so good, like oh girl, that you can't tell them nothing. Like you can't tell them you're not happy with something. And I think that that's part of the problem is that if you are not receiving that message in a way where it's safe for a person to even communicate this to you, what's the point? Like,
so right. So I can be it's my response. I feel it's my responsibility to be constructive, out of love, be honest, don't lie, encourage.
right.
Once that's my part. If you still can't take it, then that becomes a you problem. That's not a me problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to start evaluating why you so thin-skinned, why you easily get offended when I'm hey, we still on the same team. I'm telling you this because I'm rooting for you.
Right.
And I see you got a passion for something. I want you to get it right.
Right.
If you don't, especially when I'm doing it in love and I'm mindful to say it in a language that you can receive it.
Right.
If I've done that part, then that's a you problem.
Right.
And I'm not going to be responsible for, as I'm getting older. I'm not going to be responsible for a you problem.
No, not at all. Especially if you did everything properly and like effectively in communicating that information. So I cook and I bake. Like food is a love language for me.
Right.
Feeding people is a love language for me. Like enjoying watching people eat my food is like all this is part of a love language for me. That doesn't mean that everything has to be good and you have to like everything I make, but that's like a huge thing for me. And So I try to be super receptive, if somebody's like, it's missing this, or I wish it had a little bit of this. Like I'm a people pleaser, and I've had to figure out how to hone that to be the most
Right.
effective in certain places. And so, like with everything I make for people, I always ask, like, please give me your constructive criticism.
Right.
Please let me know if you liked it. Please let me know if you want more cinnamon, less cinnamon, more
Right.
sugar. So like when I was 17 because it was right before I got pregnant. Um, I remember I was in a situation with a family member where, like, I I went and stayed with some family for a short period of time, and we went to like KFC, I think it was, and they had like sweet cornbread muffins, right? Like, and I love cornbread. I love sweet cornbread.
Okay.
And so KFC had these sweet cornbread muffins. And when I was staying with family out of state for a while, like that was just one of the stops that we would stop by frequently. And I love these fucking cornbread muffins. So this family member that I was staying with took it upon herself to like make me cornbread muffins. And it was the sweetest gesture, and and, and,
Right.
and and in her world, she's like, Nikki loves these so much, let me make them for her.
Right.
And I can totally see me being in the same space.
Ah,
Like, let me make these for you because you love them so much. Let me try this. And she's a phenomenal cook, like has always been a phenomenal cook.
she just
And
missed it. She missed it.
made the cornbread muffins and there was like no sugar in them, right? And that's all fine and dandy because some people love savory cornbread. I
Right.
like sweet cornbread.
Right.
So we sit down at the meal that she's prepared, which I'm beyond grateful for. Like I was raised to not be ungrateful. Like
Right.
that was just not something that was allowed for us as being ungrateful, snotty little fucking kids. Um, so when she asked me, she was like, "How's the cornbread?" I was like, "I don't like it," and I got chastised for that. I
And he was
will
like, I don't like
obviously.
it.
I mean, this is 25 years ago. My daughter's about to be
Oh.
25. I will never forget that experiment. I was chastised about how rude I was, how inconsiderate I
She
was,
was just her feelings was hurt because her cornbread wasn't
and I felt like such an asshole. I was like, it was my first
that'd
time
be
of
tough.
ever
That's
feeling
tough
like
for a
I had to
17-year-old
lie
to
to
right,
somebody else about something. And I was
right.
just, and I guess, in my immediate family, my household growing up, like, there was no filter, and that could have been a problem. There was zero
Right.
filter. So if my mom didn't like something my dad cooked, or my dad didn't like something my mom cooked, oh, you gonna know. You definitely, we ain't finna eat this shit. Y'all, we finna go out to eat. Like,
Right.
that's not the most effective way, in my opinion, to communicate
Really,
that
that was immature of your
message.
family member to tell you the truth. See, you said when you say I don't like it, that's okay.
I
It's
didn't
nothing wrong
like
with that
it.
because you're talking about a
Yeah.
personal preference. Now, if you say it's
Yes.
nasty, see that's it's the
And
difference
and
between
and
saying
I
something is nasty and
don't
saying I
and I
don't like
don't
it.
think I said it was nasty. I think I was just like, I don't like it. I don't like it. It doesn't have sugar, or it's not good. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't fucking
Right,
like it. And I
right.
didn't say that I didn't like it in a horrible, like,
Just
oh, this
speaking
is just
from
the
your
worst
taste
ever. Like,
buds preference.
I will never fucking forget that because I was
Aw,
chastised. I was made to feel like I was horrible for telling the truth. And
right.
I have thought about that literally ever fucking since that day. And so, like, as my children have gotten older and they've eaten other people's food and they've not liked other people's food and they prefer, my food, like, I've tried to, hone how to explain to them, like, the kind and proper way to say, I'm not a real big fan of this, or not a real big fan of, like, I make them try everything at least one bite. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to eat it. But, like, I know what being mean sounds like, and I was not being mean at all, but
I
it was
told you
it.
about my friend as a he tasted some cake balls over his personality.
Yes, yes.
No, it's terrible. It's terrible. Took it out of his
See,
mouth, put it back in. No, that's
and
terrible.
I don't like. I would be more mortified by the fact that I gave somebody something that they didn't like, or that didn't hit the spot, versus them telling me it didn't hit the spot. Like, tell me you don't like it. Tell me it's too
Right.
this or too that, or And I don't know, like I feel like I make that an open space for my customers or people who, order shit from me or whatever. But there is a way to tell somebody, and I agree with you. And I
Yeah.
think that it is
And
absolutely
I'm gonna take it a
appropriate
step
to
further.
communicate that.
I'll take it a step further. If you're in those scenarios, because what you say, I'll let your friend eat it, I'll let the coworkers, if you get to a place where nobody wants to be honest with you, that's probably a you problem also.
Oh,
Like
that's definitely a you
what
problem.
is it about you that make people feel, not just one person, but
Like they can't be
multiple people,
honest.
that they can't be honest, that they can't just be open with you about certain things?
Right.
That's something that you gotta check, because it's not a good thing if
No.
nobody feels comfortable
No. That
just
person usually
being open with
lashes
you.
out. That person usually
Yeah,
takes it all extra personal. So Kevin mentions, he says, how does someone teach their kid how to take criticism? I think that it starts from when they're little. Being honest with your children, communicating with them like they're actual people instead of, oh, did your baby, oh, the baby, baby, oh, baby, baby. Like, no, like you have to communicate with your children, and there has to be disappointments. There has to be, everybody ain't gonna get a trophy. I don't come from everybody gets a participation trophy. So
right,
being able to explain to children and, use examples and experiences with children of how to take criticism, but at the same time, we also are teaching our children how to, let shit roll off of their back, right? So in the same time we're telling our kids, oh, people say this, people say that, people say this, don't take it personal, in one ear out the other. In the same token that we have that conversation, we do have to talk to them about how to take criticism, how to um, filter out, is this a person who's giving me actual
right,
constructive criticism, or is this person trying to be hurtful? Is
right.
this person trying to be facetious? Is this person trying to hurt my feelings? um, and
And
that
then
is important.
there's rules to there's rules and structures about being constructive and to receive constructive criticism. So a big part in that, and if you talk about kids or even yourself, you got to learn how to ask the right questions.
Right.
So if you ask it, if you ask, well, how's my cornbread? Um, First question, and this goes with anything. This is what we do in sales all the time. What do you like about it? What could I do for you that would make it better? See, you're still
Hmm.
opening the door up to
Right.
say, if there is something that I'm giving you an invitation for critique and
Yeah.
criticism.
Yeah. Let me know
Okay,
how
well,
how
thanks.
can
What
I
what is
how can
it?
I make this better for
Yeah,
you?
what is it that I mean for your personal preference? What else would you add to it?
Hmm.
And you just opening the door, and that goes with
Hmm.
anything. So in my house with my children, one way that I was raised a whole lot differently from that I raised my children differently from how I was raised. Um, a little bit with my family. I mean, my mother, she was pretty open, but definitely just my extended circle. We It's an open invitation to ask questions. You
Right.
need to ask why. If you don't
Right.
understand, you ask why. Ask
Right.
where, ask what. We ask questions. We interrogate everything is open for interrogation. And even if my answer is, um, you know what? I don't have an answer where I can't tell you right now. There's just levels to how much I can tell
Hmm.
a child. But
Hmm.
no, we ask everything. And if they want to do
Hmm.
something or don't want to do it, you can ask why. And teaching that
Hmm.
mindset is what opens a person's up to open
Hmm.
people up later on when they become adults to receive.
Right.
Now you're not scared to ask questions.
Right.
You're not scared to pay attention to body language. So even if somebody says, "Oh yeah, it's good," you should look. If you don't like it, it's no problem. Like, what is it that you like about it? Tell me, what about the texture? Let me
Hmm.
let me be
Hmm.
specific.
Hmm.
Do you
Well, and
typically like your cornbread
use your
sweeter or you
words.
like it more? Yes.
This is where teaching your children vocabulary is hella critical.
And you
Is it
tell people, you
salty?
know
Is it
what,
spicy? Is it mushy? Is it,
you tell people, you put them in a
Hmm.
space to be a consultant. You tell them, hey, look, I'm trying to get better. So
Right.
anything that you can add on to
Yeah.
help me get, and now you've created a space to where people want to, and that's why I said even with music, people come to me with everything. People come to me because I create a space to say I can receive criticism, I can give criticism. We're exploring this together
Right.
to become better people down the road.
Yeah, be honest with me, man. I would much rather you tell me the truth than be eating my food and being like, "Oh my God, this is the worst shit ever." Like, you see that meme
Right.
they always have around the holidays where it says something like, something about like the food ain't no good, so the person's like throwing the food in the trash, like with the plate upside down, so you can't see like how much food you threw away. I'm like, no, just tell me, please let me know that, it's not up to par. And it's only going to break my heart because like now I'm crushed because I didn't make you happy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like, I would much rather somebody tell me
Certain
the
things can be
truth.
personal preference. What that wasn't for
Right.
me. That wasn't for me.
Right.
It's
Too much
simple.
this, too much that. It
Because some
is.
things
It
is not
is.
now. If something just look like you poured a bucket of salt or just spilled some. Like no, it's too much.
Check 'em. Good night.
It's certain
Yeah.
things that is just off. Like I don't know
Right.
but there's other things that just might not be my. No, that ain't for me.
Right.
Now,
Right.
if you are really looking to gain understanding, you go to 3 or 4 different people. If all of them say the same thing, now
Right.
it ain't pretty
Right.
good. If everybody else
Right.
like it and I say it ain't me, then that's just me and my taste buds.
Mhm. Yeah, be honest, fellas. It's okay to be honest, ladies. It's okay to be honest. Tell people,
Yeah.
but you do have to do it in a way. You do got to find the right way to tell people. And for those of you who are not receiving criticism well, quit that shit. Stop. Allow a space for people to be
Yep.
able to communicate with you. You are creating a fraudulent environment by not making it to where people can be honest with you. You want people to lie to you or not? Like, come on.
And you don't
It's
realize people will actually respect you more in the long. And once they get past
right.
getting butt hurt and they have their little feelings hurt for a second, they'll actually
I
respect
agree.
you and
I
your opinion
agree.
even more.
I agree. Yep, I agree. And at the end of the day, when it comes to food, anybody who's preparing food generally does it because they want you to like what they're making. So just
Right.
tell them. It's okay to tell them and receive it properly. Don't be, don't be like, oh girl in a text thread. Well, if I can't take this pie to your family's Thanksgiving, then we're done. Okay. That's like, you better not go digging and you might catch something that you didn't want to see. Like,
Yeah.
don't be like that. But I thought it was important because we're coming into Christmas holidays. Of course, we just had Thanksgiving holidays, and somebody gets served a plate of something where it's like, oh my God, what is this? I didn't want to eat this. I don't want it. And people not knowing how to tell
Well,
people.
maybe that's the benefit to where we don't really sit together at a table anymore, at least in my family. They
Hmm.
got the kitchen island, the people go sit on the
Yep.
kitchen.
Some in the
We
kitchen,
sit
some at
at
the table, some on the couch.
we sitting at the big round or oval table. Everybody
Hmm.
see what you eating and ain't eating, so it's so hard for
Yeah,
you to
all
eat.
up in your face.
And you just get up with the plate like, hold on, you still got them sweet potatoes on the plate. What's up?
Hmm.
I
Like
think
I
I get
cooked a
full now.
huge spread. I made a huge spread for Thanksgiving, and I made a couple to go containers for some of my friends. And so one of my friends had come over, and I gave him, I warmed it up and I gave him his food and whatever. We're just talking and shit, and I scooped up some potato salad. Had a whole bunch of food and shit, and I could tell what he
You had
didn't like.
raisins in the potato
Yes,
salad. You put raisins
yeah, he
in the
didn't like
potato
it.
salad.
You better go somewhere with that. Absolutely not. That potato salad is bomb. But everybody has a
Oh,
certain
boy.
preference with potato salad. I like mine very pickly. I love pickles. Pickles and onions. I love pickles and onions. And
I do like that too, my potato salad. That's that
yeah,
Texas stuff. Yeah.
it is the big old ass big pickles and onions. But I could tell he wasn't a big fan. But I wasn't tripping, and it was just like I took a couple bites, left it there. Cool.
Right. Right.
I'm not gonna throw a fit over the fact that you didn't eat this potato salad, but I also didn't put him in a position where he had to tell me
Right.
I don't like it. I don't like it. And that's okay. Everything ain't for everybody. Everything isn't good to everybody all the time. Like you
Right.
said,
It's
some
okay.
people do have preference about preferences. But it is okay to be honest. And you better look at how you receive criticism because you gonna make it or break it if you don't handle criticism constructively.
You create an atmosphere of eggshells.
Yeah, you do. You do.
All right, I think we almost 10 minutes past.
We did. So that's pretty much our show for tonight. Of course, thank you to everybody who watched us tonight. We had some traction over on YouTube, so I know it was a little bit different. And I think what I'll do next week, instead of using the Free Thinkers logo as the like the screen cover of the video, I just won't put one. So you'll see whoever is in the conversation as the image as opposed to the Free Thinkers logo. So that may have been something that maybe tripped some folks out this week. But hopefully y'all will be able to catch this a little bit later on. Of course, I'm going to post this a million times between now and next Tuesday. But follow us over on YouTube, Free Thinkers Worldwide. Of course, our Facebook page, Free Thinkers. Check out the content that we have on there. We've got lots of support and lots of other podcasters that we have great working relationships with. Send us your topics, ideas of things that you'd like to see us talk about. Come into the conversation every Tuesday night, 8:05 p.m. See you next Tuesday. Good night, y'all.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love having these conversations, just me and you. But we sure hope to see some folks up in here next week. And y'all don't forget to share the page, please. Thanks, Kevin, for holding down in the comment sections. Rob, what's up? I saw you post in the comment section too. And we will see y'all next Tuesday.
Good night.
Good night.